Hello and welcome to day 24 of the Not Alone chronological Bible reading plan with Joseph and Anu. Today we read in Exodus 21 to 23 using the New Revised Standard Version, the updated edition.
Exodus 21. These are the ordinances that you shall set before them. When you buy a male Hebrew slave, he shall serve 6 years. But in the 7th, he shall go out a free person without debt. If he comes in single, he shall go out single. If he comes in married, then his wife shall go out with him. If his master gives him a wife and she bears him sons or daughters, the wife and her children shall be her master's, and he shall go out alone. But if the slave declares, I love my master, my wife, and my children, I will not go out a free person, then his master shall bring him before God. He shall be brought to the door or the doorpost, and his master shall pierce his ear with an awl, and he shall serve him for life.
When a man sells his daughter as a slave, she shall not go out as the male slaves do. If she does not please her master, who designated her for himself, then he shall let her be redeemed. He shall have no right to sell her to a foreign people, since he has dealt unfairly with her. If he designates her for his son, he shall deal with her as with a daughter. If he takes another wife to himself, he shall not diminish the food, clothing, or marital rights of the first wife. If he does not do these 3 things for her, she shall go out without debt, without payment of money.
Whoever strikes a person mortally shall be put to death. If it was not premeditated but came about by an act of God, then I will appoint for you a place to which the killer may flee. But if someone willfully attacks and kills another by treachery, you shall take the killer from my altar for execution.
Whoever strikes father or mother shall be put to death.
Whoever kidnaps a person, whether that person has been sold or is still held in possession, shall be put to death.
Whoever curses father or mother shall be put to death.
When individuals quarrel and one strikes the other with a stone or fist so that the injured party, though not dead, is confined to bed, but recovers and walks around outside with the help of a staff, then the assailant shall be free of liability, except to pay for the loss of time and to arrange for full recovery.
When a slave owner strikes a male or female slave with a rod, and the slave dies immediately, the owner shall be punished. But if the slave survives a day or 2, there is no punishment, for the slave is the owner's property.
When people who are fighting injure a pregnant woman so that there is a miscarriage, and yet no further harm follows, the one responsible shall be fined what the woman's husband demands, paying as much as the judges determine. If any harm follows, then you shall give life for life, eye for eye, tooth for tooth, hand for hand, foot for foot, burn for burn, wound for wound, stripe for stripe.
When a slave owner strikes the eye of a male or female slave, destroying it, the owner shall let the slave go a free person to compensate for the eye. If the owner knocks out a tooth of a slave or female slave, the slave shall be let go a free person to compensate for the tooth.
When an ox gores a man or a woman to death, the ox shall be stoned, and its flesh shall not be eaten. But the owner of the ox shall not be liable. If the ox has been accustomed to gore in the past, and its owner has been warned but did not restrain it, and it kills a man or a woman, the ox shall be stoned, and its owner also shall be put to death. If a ransom is imposed on the owner, then the owner shall pay whatever is imposed for the redemption of the victim's life. If it gores a boy or a girl, the owner shall be dealt with according to this same rule. If the ox gores a male or female slave, the owner shall pay to the slave owner 30 shekels of silver, and the ox shall be stoned.
If someone leaves a pit open or digs a pit and does not cover it, and an ox or a donkey falls into it, the owner of the pit shall make restitution, giving money to its owner but keeping the dead animal.
If someone's ox hurts the ox of another so that it dies, then they shall sell the live ox and divide the price of it. and the dead animal they shall also divide. But if it was known that the ox was accustomed to gore in the past, and its owner did not restrain it, the owner shall restore ox for ox, but keep the dead animal.
Chapter 22. When someone steals an ox or a sheep, or slaughters it, or sells it, the thief shall pay 5 oxen for an ox, and 4 sheep for a sheep. If the thief is found breaking in and is struck dead, no blood guilt is incurred. But if it happens after sunrise, blood guilt is incurred. The thief shall make full restitution, or if unable to do so, shall be sold for the theft. When the animal, whether ox or donkey or sheep, is found alive in the thief's possession, the thief shall pay double.
When someone causes a field or vineyard to be grazed over, or lets livestock loose to graze in someone else's field, restitution shall be made from the best in the owner's field or vineyard.
When fire breaks out and catches in thorns, so that the stacked grain or the standing grain or the field is consumed, the one who started the fire shall make full restitution.
When someone delivers to a neighbor money or goods for safekeeping, and they are stolen from the neighbor's house, then the thief, if caught, shall pay double. If the thief is not caught, the owner of the house shall be brought before God to determine whether or not the owner had laid hands on the neighbor's goods.
In any case of disputed ownership involving ox, donkey, sheep, clothing, or any other loss, of which one party says, "This is mine," the case of both parties shall come before God. The one whom God condemns shall pay double to the other.
When someone delivers to another a donkey, ox, sheep, or any other animal for safekeeping, and he dies, or is injured, or is carried off without anyone saying it, an oath before the Lord shall decide between the two of them that the one has not laid hands on the property of the other. The owner shall accept the oath, and no restitution shall be made. But if it was stolen, restitution shall be made to its owner. If it was mangled by beasts, let it be brought as evidence. Restitution shall not be made, for the mangled remains.
When someone borrows an animal from another, and it is injured or dies, the owner not being present, full restitution shall be made. If the owner was present, there shall be no restitution. If it was hired, only the hiring fee is due.
When a man seduces a virgin who is not engaged to be married and lies with her, he shall give the bride price for her and make her his wife. But if her father refuses to give her to him, he shall pay an amount equal to the bride price for virgins.
You shall not permit a female sorcerer to live.
Whoever has intercourse with an animal shall be put to death.
Whoever sacrifices to another god other than the Lord alone shall be devoted to destruction.
You shall not wrong or oppress a resident alien, for you were aliens in the land of Egypt. You shall not abuse any widow or orphan. If you do abuse them when they cry out to me, I will surely heed their cry. My wrath will burn, and I will kill you with the sword, and your wives shall become widows, and your children orphans.
If you lend money to my people, to the poor among you, you shall not deal with them as a creditor. You shall not exact interest from them. If you take your neighbor's cloak as guarantee, you shall restore it before the sun goes down, for it may be your neighbor's only clothing to use as a cover. In what else shall that person sleep? And when your neighbor cries out to me, I will listen, for I am compassionate.
You shall not revile God or curse a leader of your people.
You shall not delay to make offerings from the fullness of your harvest, or from the outflow of your presses.
The firstborn of your sons you shall give to me. You shall do the same with your oxen and with your sheep. 7 days it shall remain with its mother. On the 8th day you shall give it to me.
You shall be people consecrated to me. So you shall not eat any meat that is mangled by beasts in the field. You shall throw it to the dogs.
Chapter 23. You shall not spread a false report. You shall not join hands with the wicked to act as a malicious witness. You shall not follow a majority in wrongdoing. When you bear witness in a lawsuit, you shall not side with the majority, so as to pervert justice, nor shall you be partial to the poor in a lawsuit.
When you come upon your enemy's ox or donkey going astray, you shall bring it back.
When you see the donkey of one who hates you struggling under its burden, and you would hold back from setting it free, you must help to set it free.
You shall not pervert the justice due to your poor in their lawsuits. Keep far from a false charge, and do not kill the innocent and those in the right, for I will not acquit the guilty. You shall take no bribe, for a bribe blinds officials and subverts the cause of those who are in the right.
You shall not oppress a resident alien. You know the heart of an alien, for you were aliens in the land of Egypt.
6 years you shall sow your land and gather in its yield. But the 7th year you shall let it rest and lie fallow, so that the poor of your people may eat, and what they leave the wild animals may eat. You shall do the same with your vineyard and with your olive orchard.
6 days you shall do your work, but on the 7th day you shall rest, so that your ox and your donkey may have relief, and your unborn slave and the resident alien may be refreshed. Be attentive to all that I have said to you. Do not invoke the names of other gods. Do not let them be heard on your lips.
3 times in the year you shall hold a festival for me. You shall observe the festival of unleavened bread, as I commanded you. You shall eat unleavened bread for 7 days at the appointed time in the month of Abib, for in it you came out of Egypt.
No one shall appear before me empty-handed.
You shall observe the festival of harvest, of the first fruits of your labor, of what you sow in the field. You shall observe the festival of ingathering at the end of the year, when you gather in from the field the fruit of your labor. 3 times in the year all your males shall appear before the Lord God.
You shall not offer the blood of my sacrifice with anything leavened, or let the fat of my festival remain until the morning. The choicest of the first fruits of your ground you shall bring into the house of the Lord your God. You shall not boil a kid in its mother's milk.
I am going to send an angel in front of you to guard you on the way and to bring you to the place that I have prepared. Be attentive to him and listen to his voice. Do not rebel against him, for he will not pardon your transgression, for my name is in him.
But if you listen attentively to his voice and do all that I say, then I will be an enemy to your enemies and a foe to your foes.
When my angel goes in front of you and brings you to the Amorites, the Hittites, the Perizzites, the Canaanites, and the Evites, and the Jebusites, and I blot them out, you shall not bow down to their gods, or serve them, or follow their practices, but you shall utterly demolish them and break their pillars in pieces. You shall serve the Lord your God, and I will bless your bread and your water, and I will take sickness away from you. No one shall miscarry or be barren in your land. I will fulfill the number of your days. I will send my terror in front of you, and will throw into confusion all the people against whom you shall come. And I will make your enemies turn their backs to you, and I will send swarms of hornets in front of you. We shall drive out the Hivites, the Canaanites, and the Hittites from before you. I will not drive them out from before you in 1 year, lest the land become desolate and the wild animals multiply against you. Little by little I will drive them out from before you, until you have increased and possessed the land. I will set your borders from the Red Sea to the Sea of the Philistines, and from the wilderness of the Euphrates. For I will hand over to you the inhabitants of the land, and you shall drive them out before you. You shall make no covenant with them and their gods. They shall not live in your land, lest they make you sin against me. For if you serve their gods, it will surely be a snare to you. This is the word of the Lord.
Thanks be to God.
In summary, in chapter 21, we read about the law concerning slaves, concerning violence, and property and the law of restitution started in chapter 22, going on to laws about social and religious laws. We also read about justice for all in chapter 23 and what the sabbatical year should entail, and Sabbath as well. So what stood out to you in 21?
Chapter 20, we were reading the 10 Commandments. But now we are beginning to see that actually it's not just some 10 commandments that they are supposed to follow. Now there are more and more and more layers and layers of nuances to what the 10 commandments entail. And indeed, by the time we have reached the end of the Old Testament, we would have seen some 700 and something, as Bible scholars have put it, injunctions. And you want to start wondering, how can one person possibly even know all of these hundreds of laws and then, of course, to keep them? That's on the one hand. But on the other hand is then to see the heart of God in wanting these people to live peaceably one with another as a way to model the peace and unity within the Godhead. Because, these are God's people. He has called them my firstborn son, Israel. And so it draws us into that heart of God to see his desire for justice, his desire for unity, his desire for peace, amongst other things. And there are some laws there that I'm just like, oh wow. So that's a possible scenario indeed. Yeah. How about you?
The first part of chapter 21, I found that a female slave is treated better than a male slave.
Okay.
And that God talked about homicide. That's interesting. How that some murders might be premeditated and some might not be, and it catered for both. For me, for chapter 21, it's all encompassing. Like, God has thought about different scenarios that might occur and provided an outcome for it. Some of the outcomes might result in death, or some might result in freedom. But whichever the outcome is, I am more in awe of the fact that it's not leaving the people defenseless. From the get-go, God is providing a structure, a way for them to know how to live. Because these people have been slaves in Egypt for 400 years or so. Now they're the ones now having slaves. So therefore, they are being taught how to deal with people that are enslaved to them. And now that in the 7th year, there should be freedom. And I found that to be really, really good.
Yeah.
And they talked about first wife and second wives as well. And I thought it's really thorough, and
very
that makes me
detailed.
glad because again it re-emphasized that God is a God that sees, is all seeing, and He meets us at the point of our needs.
Indeed. And we begin to see, some of these laws. So far, we've considered laws that deal, especially largely with community life. Again, highlighting that attribute of God, as I've said before, as a God who desires, that cohesiveness within community life. But then, as we go on, because there will still be more and more laws, there will still be more and more blueprints, there will still be more and more instructions that are being given. We'll see some specifically highlighting the holiness of God. We'll see some particularly highlighting the love of God. I like that more than once in these chapters we read today, it kept reminding them they were strangers in Egypt, and so they should treat aliens properly. They should treat immigrants, if you will, properly, and things like that. So these laws, on the one hand, we can see them as, how do I keep all of this? On the other hand, deeper, they provide us a window into the attributes of the person that is in charge of our nation, our leader, the attributes of our father, the attributes of our king in this kingdom. And they are ever so helpful to see.
So chapter 22, we read about the law of restitution.
Yeah.
And now that if you take, you give back. and things. Just it reads very balanced.
Yeah.
If you do something that you're not meant to do, then you pay double for what you've done.
Yeah.
And things.
Okay.
And did anything stand out to you?
Verse 28 where it says, "You shall not revile God or curse a leader of your people," and that's categorically would be violated in some chapters to come, at different points in their story. Or,
I think the part that stood out to me in chapter 22 is verse 25. How that if you lend to the poor, don't take interest from the money you've given them. And if your neighbor gives you their only clothing as collateral, you need to restore it back in case it's their only clothing.
yeah.
But in spite of this, at the start of chapter 23, God balanced this by saying that if the poor brings a lawsuit, don't be partial to them
Because of their
poverty, but deal with the lawsuit as it is. So on the one hand, it's saying that we should be aware of the poor among us and treat them accordingly. But then in chapter 23, verse 3, it's saying that you should not be partial to them. So basically, when it's a lawsuit, it is according to these circumstances, not the person's circumstances. But when it comes to lending or personal relationship, be aware of them. And I found that to be very balanced.
Indeed. For me in chapter 23, it's the clarity as to how God will not drive out the inhabitants of the promised land in one go that stood out to me. It says in verse 29, "I will not drive them out before you in 1 year, so that the land will not become desolate, so that there won't be wild animals multiplying." But then it says, "Little by little I will drive them out from before you until you have increased and possessed the land." As though this is how we win. This is how we possess our possessions. It's not some miraculous thing that just happens in one night. God expects an increase in our capacity, and it does these things for us in progressive revelation, progressive victories. Even in creation, we see that same pattern. It does something for a few things and says evening and morning it's one day, and the Lord saw and it was good. And it was celebrating those milestones. Yes, the world is not yet, the creation is not yet exactly how He wants it to be, but what it does per day in the context of what day means there, he celebrates it, and He keeps going on and on as such. And that's how we should live. Celebrate your little wins, because at the end of the day, it's taking you further and further into possessing the fullness of your possessions, and invest in yourself to increase your capacity so that you can be better positioned to possess it even more. In that sense,
Makes sense. Thank you for that.
Thank you, and thanks for joining us for day 24. We hope to turn the page again and come to day 25, where we continue the story. But till then, just remember, you're not alone
Today.
God bless you.